boys and girls, this is day 1 of your week 6 packet. Your math page should have a snowflake in the top right corner with page 6 on it. Remember that the video is just a tool, so you want to do all your work first as much as you can, and then use the video to check and also to help you out on the parts where you got stuck. Number 1, find the sum. Sum means the answer in addition. 7 plus 8 equals 15. Write my 5, bundle my 10, move them to the tens place. 1 plus 9 equals 10. 10 plus 3 is 13. Write down your 3, bundle your 10, and move them over to the hundreds place. 1 plus 7 equals 8. 8 plus 4 equals 12. Write down your 2, bundle the 10, and move them to the thousands. 1 plus 3 equals 4. 4 plus 8 equals 12. Count your digits, 1, 2, 3, put your comma. 3,797 plus 8,438 equals 12,235. Number 2, find the difference. 1 subtract 2. If I have 1, I cannot take 2 away. I'm going to go to my tens place, take one of them, which leaves me 2. Unbundle them into 10 ones, and I already have 1, so that's 11 ones. 11 subtract 2 equals 9. 2 subtract 4. If I have 2 items, I cannot take 4 away. I will go to my hundreds place, take one of them, which leaves me 2 left, unbundle them to 10 tens, plus the 2 I already have equals 12 tens. 12 subtract 4 equals 8. 2 subtract 5. If I have 2, cannot take 5 away. I'm going to go to my thousands place, take one of them. That leaves me 7. Unbundle it to 10 hundreds. I already have 2 hundreds. Together, that makes 12 hundreds. 12 subtract 5 equals 7 hundreds. 7 subtract 3 equals 4. Count your digits. 1, 2, 3. Put your comma. 8,331 subtract 3,542 equals 4,789. Number 3, find the product.
Farmer was planting green beans in 14 rows of 15. The area model is how he thought about the number of plants he'd got. First he multiplied 10 by 10 and wrote 100 with his pad and pen. Then he multiplied 10 by 5. There were 50 more plants coming alive. Then 10 times 4 equals 40, and just the bottom corner was empty. So he multiplied 5 by 4 and ended up with 20 more. Split up the place values in multiplication. Multiply the tens to get the foundation. Then the other place values get multiplied. Add the partial products up and check your work twice. Then the farmer planted black beans in 22 rows of 15. To find out how many plants he had, he drew the area model on his sketch pad. He did 20 times 10 and wrote 200 down. Then 10 times 2 and 20 is what he found. 20 times 5 was 100, and then 5 times 2 equaled 10. He added 200, 120, and 10. The sum was 330. He checked it again. So there are 330 black beans in 22 rows of 15. Split up the place values in multiplication. Multiply the tens to get the foundation. Then other place values keep multiplied. Add the partial products up and check your work twice.
$91 times 75. I'm going to go to my area model and I'm using some scratch paper and I'm going to solve 91 times 75. Remember that when I'm doing this, I have to break these numbers into expanded form. 91, I'm going to look at the 9 first. This 9 really means 9 tenths or 90. Then looking at the 1 just simply means 1, 1. Now I'm looking at the 75. This 7 really means 7 tens or 70. And the 5 means 5 ones because it's in the ones place. Now remember that they call this the area model because it's area equals length times width. In this case, we are finding the area of each of these individual boxes. Starting with this first box, I'm going to do the length, which is 70, times the width, which is 90. Because these are multiples of 10, remember you have the trick that you can count the zeros at the end, and that same number of zeros will be in your answer. Then I can simply say 7 times 9. Let's go to our multiplication chart. Looking at my multiplication chart, I follow the 7 and the 9, and where they meet, 63, that's your answer. So 7 times 9 equals 63. However, this is 70 times 90. So that answer is 6,300. For this small box over here, I'm doing 70 times 1. 7 tens times 1. Well, we've learned that anytime you multiply something by the number 1, it just equals itself. So 70 times 1 equals 70. Now we're going down here to this bottom rectangle, and it's going to be the length 5 times this width, which is the same as the line above it. So it's still times 90. And I see a multiple of 10, so I'm going to count that 0 and go ahead and put it in my answer right here. And then I just have this basic fact left that I have to multiply, 5 times 9. I'm going to go over here to my 5 and follow it around until I get to 9. 9 is right here, and where they meet in the middle, 45, that's my answer. Now remember, 5 times 9 equals 45, but this problem is 5 times 90, so that equals 450. And then in this last rectangle, it equals the length 5 times the width. This width is the same as the one above it, which is 1. And same thing. Anytime you multiply a number by 1, it just equals itself. So 5 times 1 equals 5. Now I'm not finished because I have the area of each of these rectangles, but I need the total of all of them together. These are called partial products or partial answers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the numbers and I'm going to line them up in my ones place and add them together. Now, we know that when we add numbers together, it doesn't matter the order, and it's the easiest if you put the largest numbers on the top. So I'm going to put 6,300 on the top, and then I'm going to use this one, 450. And then I'm going to write this number, 70, and then the answer in this box, 5. And then I'll add them together. 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 5 equals 5. 0 plus 5 plus 7 equals 12. Write down your 2, bundle the 10 and move them to the hundreds. 1 plus 3 equals 4 plus 4 equals 8. And 6 plus nothing equals 6. So my answer is 6,825. 91 times 75 equals 6,825. Okay. Question 4. Find the quotient. Now, this question has a 2-digit divisor. That is actually not a 4th grade standard. So you do not need to do question 4 for the page today. You do not need to do question 4. We're going to skip it and we're going to go to question 5. Write the multiples of 7 that are less than 30. I'm going to come over here to my multiplication chart. And remember, multiplication, it sounds like multiples because these are all multiples. So if they want multiples of 7, you simply go to the 7 and starting with the 7 times 1, these are all going to be the multiples, but we want less than 30. Less than 30, so not up to 30, less than it. 7, 14, 21, 28, and then I see 35 is too long, so I'm not going to do 35. I'm just doing these right here. 7, 14, 21, and 28. Those are all the multiples of 7 that are less than 30. Whenever it asks you about multiples, just think in your head, skip counting. You're skip counting by 7. Okay, question 6. Use greater than, less than, or equal to compare the numbers. So we're going to look at these, and remember you can always put these in a place value chart. But today we're just going to look at place value as they are in the number. I can see right here that both numbers have a comma and then one place value after the comma. That means that the greatest place value of both numbers is the thousands place. If I look at the digit in the thousands place, they're both ones. So I cannot use that number to compare them. Then I'm going to go to my hundreds place, and both numbers have the digit 6 in the hundreds place. That doesn't help me either. I'm going to go to my tens place, and now I can see that I have different digits. So I'm going to go ahead and circle. This is the number that I'm comparing, the 7 in this number and the 5 in this number. Which is greater, 5 or 7? 7 is greater, so I will put 2 dots next to the greater number, 1 dot next to the lesser number, and then what you're going to do is you're connecting the dots, and that will give you the correct sign. 1,657 is less than 1,674. Question 7. Draw a rhombus and partition it into 2 equal parts. I'm going to go over here and go to our math help page that we had. And it has all the polygons, all the different shapes, and I'm going to find the rhombus. Remember that the rhombus looks like a diamond, okay? It has 4 sides, but the sides, 2 of the sides are slanted. It's similar to a parallelogram, only a parallelogram has 2 pairs of parallel sides, and a rhombus is a parallelogram with 4 equal sides. So it's like a square, but you've like tilted it. Whereas a parallelogram, all their sides are not equal. So I'm going to draw a rhombus, and then it says partition it, which just means break it into parts, into 2 equal parts. Okay, so you're just doing your very best on making a rhombus with 4 equal sides. And then I'm simply going to divide it into half. And if you divide it in half, you should be able to fold it over on top of each other and have an equal part. I could do it that way, or I could simply put this in the middle and divide it into equal halves that way, or I could go the other way and put it into equal parts that way. Okay, so there's a few different ways you can do it, but remember that you should be able to fold it over in half on each other, and if you did it correctly, then it will be exactly equal. Okay, let's go ahead and go to question number 8. There were 10 groups of 10 people coming to watch the skating competition. They were evenly divided and sat in 5 sections of the arena. How many people were seated in each section? So I'm going to go to my my scratch paper. And we know that we are going to use the cubed strategy. C, circle the numbers and units. U, underline the question. B, box your keywords. And E, evaluate the steps you need to take to solve. And D, draw a picture. Let's read it again, and this time I'm going to circle my numbers and units. There were 10 groups of 10 people coming to watch the skating competition. They were evenly divided and sat into 5 sections of the arena. Okay, now what I want to do is underline my question. How many people were seated in each section? Now I'm going to box my keywords. Evenly divided. Divided is a super important word because you're going to do exactly what it says. And then how many people, okay, in each section. They want to know how many were in each section, so that's important to pay attention to that. And then I have to evaluate, what am I going to do? If there were 10 groups of 10 people coming to watch the skating competition, and once they were all there, then they were evenly divided and sat into 5 sections. So before I could do anything, I have to figure out how many total people I had, and then I have to figure out how many people, once they were divided into the 5 sections, how many people were in each section. So this is a multi-step problem. I'm going to go ahead and draw a picture. If there were 10 groups of people, so here's my picture. I have 10 groups of 10 people, and I need to know how much altogether. So I'm going to do an area model. What is 10 times 10? I see 2 zeros, right? And then 1 times 1, which equals 1. There's 100 total people. But then it says they were evenly divided and sat into 5 sections. So now I have a total, but now I have to divide them back up into 5 sections. So I have a total of 100, and they are divided into 5 sections. And there's my total. How many times can 5 go into 100? Well, I see a 0 here. I'm going to go ahead and put that here. And then 5 can go into 10. How many times? Look at my multiplication chart. Here's my 5. There's the number 10. And if I follow it up, I have 2. So 2 times. 5 times 20 equals 100. 100 minus 100 equals 0. I have nothing remaining. So they were evenly divided and sat into 5 sections of the arena. How many people were seated in each section? Each section had 20 people in it. And if you want to check your work to find out if you're right, you simply take 20 people times 5 sections, and it should equal the total we started with in the middle. 20 times 5 equals 100. Remember, it's not enough to simply write the number. It has to be written as a sentence. There we go. Let's go up to question 9. Which fraction is greater? Now remember that I can't compare the fractions if they have different denominators. And you have a math help paper that talked about, and we've watched a video, how to compare fractions. If the fractions have different denominators, you're multiplying them by the denominator of the other number. So you can see on this one, they are comparing 5/7 to 4/5. This is your 5/7 right here, and here are your 4/5 right here. They took the denominator 5 and they multiplied it by the top and the bottom of this fraction. You can see it here. And then they took this other denominator. Let me change color so you can see it. They took this denominator and they multiplied it to the top and to the bottom of this fraction, and you can see it right here. And by doing that, now I have the same denominator in both numbers. Now both numbers have the same denominator, and I'm able to compare them. So we're going to do the same thing for this fraction. 3/4 or 1/8. I can see right away though, I could go ahead and multiply it like that. But if you can see that one of the denominators is a multiple or a factor of the other one, then you don't need to do that. And what I mean is, I can see that 8 is a multiple of 4. If I look at my multiplication chart and I follow the 4 and I see 8 right here and I follow it up, I see the number 2. That means 4 times 2 then equals 8. That means I can simply multiply this fraction by 2 on the top and the bottom, 2 over 2, and it will give me a common denominator. It will give me 8. 4 times 2 equals 8. 3 times 2 equals 6. Now I have a fraction that I can compare, 6/8 or 1/8. So I didn't even have to multiply this because I saw that this denominator was a multiple of 4. Now that I have 6/8 and 1/8, I can simply just look at this top number, which we call the numerator. I can look at the numerator, 6 and 1, which is greater? Well, 6 is greater. So I'm going to put 2 dots on the side of the greater number and 1 dot on the side of the lesser number and connect the dots. And I see then that 3/4 is greater than 1/8. So which fraction is greater? 3/4. Okay. Question 10. The perimeter of the triangle is 36 inches. Find the missing length.
Perimeter means the outside. Measure around a window or a door. Add up the length of all sides. It's the good. Perimeter's the outside. We just add, it's all around the outside. It's good. Perimeter's the outside. Area means the inside. Cover the surface that's inside. Measure the length and measure the width, and then you multiply. Well, maybe I'll buy a new shag carpet, or maybe I'll make a quilt using squares. And I'll just make sure I multiply the length by the width, find square units inside. It's the area, that's good. The area's the inside. Multiply, the area's the inside. It's good, square units on the inside. Perimeter's the outside. We just add, it's all around the outside. It's good, the area's the inside. Multiply, square units on the inside.
Well, in order to do that, you need to remember that perimeter, the way we find it is by adding up all the sides. Since I'm doing a triangle, then I have 3 sides to add up, right? Side plus side plus side. It says that the perimeter is 36 inches. So instead of P, I can go ahead and write the number 36. And I can write the sides that I do know. I know that 2 of the sides, because they're equal, right? 12 inches and 12 inches. And that leaves me 1 side that I don't know. So I'm going to go ahead and add up these 2 sides then. 12 plus 12 equals 24. And I still have the side that I don't know. And I know all of it together, though, equals 36. Well, you guys have learned this in 2nd grade, 3rd grade, that addition is the opposite of subtraction. This is like a backwards number problem. It's the same as saying question mark plus 24 equals 36. And in 2nd and 3rd grade, you learned that, about fact families and fact triangles. So to find the question mark, you're going to take the addend that you know, 24, and subtract it from 36. So I'm going to say 36 minus 24. 6 minus 4 equals 2. 3 minus 2 equals 1. My missing number is 12. 12 plus 24 equals 36. And then if you do it backwards, 2 plus 4 equals 6. 1 plus 2 equals 3. Then you know you're right. So this missing number right here, n equals 12. I'm going to write n equals 12. Remember, when you have a letter like that, it's called a variable, and all it means is question mark. You just have to figure out what it is. Use the facts they've given you and find the missing number. All right, boys and girls, I will see you tomorrow for the second day of your week 6 packet.